Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. If you've landed here, you're likely using Dynamics GP or have used it in the past, and you're curious, how does Business Central line up? We're glad you found our Business Central versus GP series, where we try to bring clarity to that change. We're keeping these videos very bite-sized for our attention spans, only covering one topic at a time. And for video number one, we thought before we even talk features, let's talk about the first thing that every user does when they log into the system, and that's just accessing it. Before we get started, I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Holly Huffman, and that is my partner, Chris Bowling. We are with Sandlapper Dynamics, a Microsoft partner with deep roots in the GP community, focused on Business Central, Power Platform, and specializing in the field service industry. We're really glad you're here with us, and let's get into it. So the first thing we think about when we talk access is let's just talk about how the systems are actually deployed. GP is traditionally an on-premise solution, meaning the servers are in your building. While it's hosted in the cloud sometimes, the roots are very much so on-premise. Business Central, on the other hand, is built cloud first. It's available as a Microsoft SaaS platform through the same Microsoft 365 ecosystem that you guys are probably already using for Teams, Outlook, or OneDrive. You can also deploy Business Central on-premise if you absolutely need to. Most customers are leaning towards cloud for flexibility and just overall lower IT overhead. Something to consider is, the choice between cloud and on-prem is not just about technology. It is also about how fast you want to scale and how much you want to invest in servers and hardware upfront. Next up is access. GP is pretty classic. You access it via remote desktop or a direct client install on your PC. It is not the most flexible, but it's very reliable in a traditional office setting. Business Central does offer that more modern anywhere access, log in via a web browser or use a mobile app to access it. So you're not tied to your VPN or your desk. Business Central, as a result, right, device flexibility can be accessed by a desktop, laptop, tablet, mobile device because it is web-based, whereas GP is primarily designed for Windows desktops. So again, your Citrix environments, remote access, RDP, but it's very desktop mindset oriented. So again, teams working in the field, anybody that's kind of on the go, it is a game changer for more modern work environments. Next up is licensing. So GP follows a more traditional licensing model where you pay one-time perpetual license, much larger upfront costs. There's annual enhancement plans. It's predictable, but it also means that you have to commit to hardware and infrastructure setup and upkeep, which is not predictable. Whereas Business Central sort of flips the script on that. There's a modern cloud-based subscription model where you pay monthly. It's a fee per user, and it includes your upgrades, your hosting, even support can be bundled into that package. So you don't get surprise IT bills and very long upgrade weekend marathons, right? Cloud first truly helps teams breathe a little easier. So again, that subscription-based model does allow you to kind of directly tie to your team size, which is a huge plus for anybody that's growing. And lastly, let's talk about authentication. So security is always mission critical. GP uses Windows Auth, which is specifically like Active Directory, direct SQL logins. It's functional, but security does kind of widely vary based on how your network is managed, whereas Business Central is tapping into the Microsoft-powered security. So it brings along with it modern features like single sign-on and multi-factor authentication, even conditional access policies. So you're really getting cloud-grade security without all of the manual setup. If you are using Microsoft 365 as well right now for Teams or Outlook, it's just really nice because BC has the same sign-on that would be your username and password for your email and for Teams. So The last thing I want to mention here is, not to scare anyone, but just the hard facts. There were some statistics released in January of this year, and it discussed sort of the fate of SMBs who are victims of cyber attacks. Because SMBs, historically don't have as many resources as some of the large enterprises, they are preyed upon by cyber attackers more frequently. And if that does happen, I think it was 60% of SMBs are closed within the first 6 months to a year after an attack because they can bring you to your knees. So, really good to think about sort of that Microsoft cloud based security that you get innately just by being in the Dynamics cloud ecosystem. So, there you have it, 5 key areas where GP and Business Central differ just in how you access and interact with the system. Next up, we're going to talk about navigation and the user experience. But please scan the QR code. That will link you to a Microsoft form where you can influence video topics, tell us what you want to see. We will go back and do the research and cover it in upcoming videos. Until next time, stay curious and kind and follow us on LinkedIn. Thanks.